So, today I open X, aka Twitter, and I noticed that do not comply was, in all capital letters, one of the trending topics. A phrase that I truly resonate with, but was curious why it was trending and for what reasons. And before we go any further, I'll just let you know this is, in fact, a stupid disguise, but the real thing is not much better. So, here we are, 2023. Pandemic ended 2 years ago, and I see do not comply in all caps. The sentiment of do not comply is valid. Hell, it's the life force that breeds innovation. It's the fabric of thinking outside of the box at its core. But for what humorous, misappropriated reason would do not comply, of course, be trending on Twitter this very fine day? Well, let's take a look. Because, of course, nothing says fighting for freedom quite like spreading a deadly virus around, am I right? So let me introduce you to the hero of our story, me, your keyboard warrior, the guy on the other end of the screen, charged up, reading, do not comply, is trending without any context, and going to Twitter to hopefully have it be for, who knows, maybe people are protesting TikTok's terms of service. I don't know. Maybe we're fighting for higher minimum wages. Who knows? I'm just your average guy trying to navigate through this sea of misinformation and absurdity. So then I go down this rabbit hole and try to make sense of what the hell is going on in the X world. Nothing really gets my adrenaline pumping, though, quite like sifting through conspiracy theories on Twitter. You know what they say, if you can't beat them, join them in laughing at their insanity. So let's take a trip down memory lane and see how do not comply went from being just your average phrase in the English language to becoming synonymous with anti-maskers and anti-vaxxers. So it started off innocently enough, people using it in various contexts. Do not comply has been a sort of, in various different usages, a rallying cry. But then, cut to 2020, we suddenly had folks equating wearing masks with child abuse. Because apparently protecting your child from potentially fatal diseases is abusive. Next thing you know, the kids will be saying eating vegetables is torture. But hey, who needs science when you've got catchy phrases on Twitter? But let's talk about some serious stuff, though. Misinformation. We've got actual people believing that mask mandates are based on superstition rather than scientific evidence. And then there's the other layer of polarization within society over public health measures. It's like two different realities and two different forms of protests, and both sides don't see the irony. Anyways, and then we have this perfect tweet that I saw at the end of looking at all of this. Never forget what they did to our children, with 4 exclamation marks. This is child abuse. These people are sick. Do not comply. If you did, never comply ever again. And it's, of course, posted with a, out of context, I guess, baby crying for being helped by an adult to put on their mask from when I could assume was probably very early on in the pandemic, and makes a great statement when you're trying to spread misinformation. And I don't understand why we don't not comply with following traffic rules, because that's a sign of societal oppression. This is all about personal liberties, right? But where do we draw the line? Why do we not comply with this over not complying with, paying our taxes? I mean, I get it. I know what you guys are after. But going into the tweets themselves, you have this golden one. Quote, mask mandates are returning. These are unsupported by scientific evidence. They are motivated by superstition and power. This is a battle for freedom and truth. Do not comply. That was posted by Kevin Bass, who apparently holds a PhD. And then, so we've got these keyboard warriors on Twitter, right? They're out here tweeting, do not comply, like they're some sort of freedom fighters or something. And it's not just 1 or 2 people, folks. This isn't just contained within the right-wing echo chamber. This is trending. It's literally like watching an episode of The Walking Dead, but with anti-maskers instead of zombies. So these guys are refusing to wear masks or get vaccinated because they think it's infringing on their rights or something along those lines. And then moving on, we have this other tweet that was on the top of the trending list for do not comply, which reads, and was posted by AlexG_2, quote, beef company CEO. I'll shut down the company before we ship a single bag with mRNA injected meat. Jason Nelson, CEO of Whole Cows. And then under that, with Alex writing, this is how we win. Do not comply. I think this is great, but conservatives are so stupid, twisting these mask mandates and vaccines into a do not comply, all caps, badge of honor when it's grounded in ignorance. The only reason we had COVID mask mandates to begin with, going back to 2020, was when we couldn't control the spread of COVID. It first started, we didn't know what to do, we didn't have a vaccine, we didn't know how it was really spread, and then the right wing bred a culture of resistance that mask mandates were grounded in control, and it created an unsubstantiated and seriously unintellectual rationale for protesting what was just meant to help us cope with this, crazy thing that was taking over the world. Why not don't comply with going to work? That sounds healthy. Why not don't comply with being an alcoholic? Why not don't comply with being lazy? There are many other valid reasons to not comply that are far more helpful and healthy. But amidst all this chaos, and going back, I hope we learned something today. Not everything that trends on Twitter should get you as excited as it did me. Not everything on Twitter is as good as you hope it will be when you see do not comply trending. Sometimes the biggest threats aren't viruses, but ignorance itself.